welcome back to the first Flickering Dreams since I think April, something like that. And we stopped doing the regular podcast, but we did say we would be doing occasional specials. And what could be more special than looking at our films of the year for 2024? So I'm joined here by Scott Forbes of the Forbes Film and TV Review on Facebook, from Andy Godfrey. Andy, do you want to introduce where people can hear your reviews?
Pure 247 Radio, UCB Radio, Premier Christian Radio, and I got a book out this year as well, by the way. But
of course you did.
Shameless
Faith
plug.
on Film. Faith on Film. Available in all good Amazon stockists.
Exactly.
Buy it; it's very good.
And if you buy the Kindle, I'll sign it for you.
Yes, I could just see Andy with his technical bias getting a Kindle and signing on the front thing in permanent marker. Yeah. And Emma Sewell. Emma, you're still at the movies on X, which is a bit dodgy.
Have you Blue Sky?
Oh, you want Blue Sky as well, right?
Yeah,
that's good. Okay, yep, we like Blue Sky, right? And I'm Bob Mann. I'm still on onemansmovies.com, and I'm also occasionally on BBC Radio Solent doing their film reviews. So we're going to go through our films of the year. This is a combined list, taking all of our input, and how this works is I asked everybody to give a top 20 list of films for the year. And I also asked for a bottom 10 worst films of the year. And basically your film of the year gets 20 points, right down to your 20th film of the year, which gets 1 point, and then I add them all together. All of these are films which came out in UK cinemas or streaming during 2024. So films which certainly Emma and I have seen at the film festivals, like the London Film Festival. I also went to the Irish UK Film Festival as well. Those films are excluded unless they had a UK release, which would have been in November or December. And out of 80 possible films that we could have individually selected, we actually had 51 different films that we gave points to this year, and only 4 outside the top 20 received votes from more than one of us. Those were Lee, which Scott and Emma gave points to, which got 6 points overall. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which Scott and Andy gave points to, that got 10 points. Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot, which I must admit I've not seen, which Scott and Andy again rated and gave 15 points to. And Society of the Snow, which myself and Emma gave points to, and that also got 15 points. So those are just outside of our top 20. And we've actually got 21 in the list because we have 3 films which we selected in joint 17th place. And basically the first 6 films on our list are films which only one of us gave points to. And but
none of mine are going to feature then.
But they were well, no, I think yes, one of yours does. One of yours does. So these are films that we individually absolutely love, such that they came up at least 4th in our personal list. But nobody else loved them. Nobody else gave them any love. But we're going to start here with joint 19th, I say, with this film.
The real world is cooler than I imagined it was going to be.
Look out! Are you okay?
My insides are coming to my outside.
They can stay with us.
New friends. Yay!
Just don't get too excited, okay?
That's what people say when it's really exciting.
So, Harold and the Purple Crayon is that one. That got 17 points in total, all of them coming from good Reverend Andy Godfrey. This stars Zach Levi and is based on a kids' cartoon. This came out at the beginning of August. I think it's fair to say it rather died a death at the cinema. But Andy put it in his top 10 at number 4. And I really enjoyed it too. It feels like it's one of those kids' films that will be discovered over time, I think. Andy, why did you love it so much?
I just thought it was the best family film of the year. I really did. I mean, it's a PG certificate, and yet it's got Lord of the Rings style action towards the end. It's got a great story. I mean, it's actually based on a series of 50s books about a little boy living in a fantasy world who's got a crayon that whatever he draws comes to life. He draws a plane appears, and he finds himself in the real world as a fully grown man in a boy's body. It's got the beautiful Zoe Deschanel in it.
That's why you rated it so highly.
Genuinely, I just thought it was absolutely just wonderfully enjoyable, inoffensive, funny, fun, good action, an end credit sequence that was actually worth waiting for. Just, I rang you, Bob. I spoke to you and I said, Bob, you got to go and see this. And I really, really think it's the best family film of the year. And as you say, I think it will be one of those that gets discovered over time. I've got the Blu-ray, and I just have watched it several times again. And it is just funny, fun, and a lovely children's film.
Yeah. Okay. So we're moving on. Again, we've got another joint 19 with this film. And this is one that I loved, which none of you loved, or maybe none of you actually saw.
Typist Artist Pirate King.
Oh. Sorry, that was not the one I was expecting to play. I think we've all seen this one.
I mean, please tell me it's not this far down.
It is this far down, yes. How
is it that far down?
I'm afraid you're the only one who gave it any votes.
Oh.
No, we're going to have a lot of this. They're going to have a lot of this during this call.
Sorry, Emma.
So this is obviously A Quiet Place Day 1, directed by Michael Sarnowski, starring Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn. And Emma loved this so much she put it in 4th place. And I think it's probably fair to say that none of us actually hated this film. Scott's not so sure.
It was the weakest of the three.
Okay.
It was definitely the weakest of the three, I agree. Yeah.
I actually quite liked it because of the twist, which I won't spoil because I think it's nice to see. If you've not seen it, I think it's nice not to have that twist. But there's a twist to the character played by Lupita Nyong'o of a medical nature, which I think made this one of the more interesting character-based sci-fi films. So I actually quite rated this one. It didn't get me any points, but I can't remember where it was on my list, but it probably made the top 30 indeed. Right, here's the one I was expecting to play, which I think only I may have seen.
You remember Helen from home, Joe? She was at school with us.
It's been 20 odd years. It's funny. What is? This is the first time we've ever talked.
Snoopians against the law.
You like her? You've been hiding away too long.
What is going on with those two? Oh.
That film is Chuck Chuck Baby, and am I right in saying you've not seen that film?
Never even heard of it.
No.
Nope.
It's one for your watch list then. It's a tiny little film. It came out in a very limited release. I think Mark Commode loved this one as well. It's written and directed by Janice Pugh. Actually features quite a number of female directors in our list this year. It's been a good year for female directors at cinema, and this one kind of scrunches together the kind of whimsy of La La Land with a Ken Loach social drama, the sort of karaoke feel of Sunshine on the Leaf, and it even ends with almost a tribute to the ending of An Officer and a Gentleman. it's really. I mean, if you think that sounds a great movie cocktail, kind of seek it out. I don't think it's streaming yet, but I really love this one. It's just one of those tiny films that really worked. I did have the pleasure of meeting the star Louise Brealey at the BFI last year because she was at a Mark Commode event there, and I hadn't seen the film at that time. Otherwise, I would have gushed to her more. So those are all of the films at number 19. We're actually going to be able to move up the chart now because we have a film at number 18, which is Standing Alone, and that is this one.
Welcome. Please prepare for departure. We hope you have a safe, pleasant, and delightful journey ahead. Thank you.
Scott, I'm disappointed.
I don't know what it is, but it looks good from that.
I don't know what
It does look good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This is a film called Kill, and Emma voted for this one hard, putting it at her number 3 slot for the year.
good.
I had to clarify with you.
Is it Bollywood?
It's kind of a Bollywood. It's an Indian set film. Yeah. I had to clarify it with Emma because that this was Die Hard on an Indian train, which is how she described it, and not The Three Brothers and Their Father in a Scottish Wood, which also came out last year and is also called Kill and is also actually a very good film. But I haven't actually seen this one, Emma. Is it available to stream anywhere? Do you know?
So I bought it to watch because I loved it so much. So I'm not actually sure if it's streaming, but it's well worth a watch, and I genuinely can't believe Scott hasn't seen it.
Yeah, that one just skipped by me somehow. I'm just trying to look up Just Watch now.
Okay, so that's Kill. It got 18 points thanks to Emma's vote, and now we've got another film which only one of us voted for. This got 19 points, and this is this.
What about my money? Am I supposed to just let them have it?
I'm gonna get it back.
I need a ride.
My mother is at large.
Why are we stopping at Mars?
To get a gun?
Do you even know how to use it?
How hard can it be? Idiots use them all the time.
That looks great. I have to say, still have not seen it. The film is Thelma. Andy went for it big time and put it at his number 2 for the year. And it really does look great. Do you know if that one's streaming?
Not yet. It's on Blu-ray, so it might be.
It's on Blu-ray, okay.
Basically, imagine James...
I think it might be.
Yeah, imagine James Bond at the age of 95 going after the bad guys on a mobility scooter. It does have explosion. I mean, June Squibb, who plays the lead, is 95 herself. She's a granny.
Oh, really?
She's a granny who's been conned, and she's going after the bad guys. And it is just absolutely hilarious. There's a scene in an old people's home where they're putting on a play, and somebody says, break a leg, and the audience I was with, somebody shouted out, don't say that! With these old people on stage. It's a delight. It's an absolute delight, Thelma. It really is. And I know...
It looks like it's available to rent on Apple TV.
Okay.
For £4.99 in the UK if you're watching this in the UK.
You know, it's this year's Typist Artist Pop. Did I mention Typist? No, I got to stop.
Yes.
Thelma is great. Absolutely. It's just a joy.
Yeah, I'm going to certainly try and catch that one. Yeah.
I think it is on Prime Video, actually.
Is it?
It's on my list of things to try and watch before the new year.
Mark Kermode mentioned it, and I wouldn't have gone to see it otherwise. He loved it. And honestly, it's a real crowd pleaser.
Great. Good stuff. Okay. And here's the final film in our list, which only one of us voted for. And somebody put it as their number 1 film of the year. Here it is.
Interested in writing something for us?
I don't do assignments anymore.
Yeah, well, you're a better writer than most people do anything. Have you heard the tapes?
No. Of what?
Sanford Police Department, this is Sean. Hey, we've had some break-ins in my neighborhood, and there's a real suspicious guy. Looks like he's up to no good or something.
So this is Origin, which Scott named as his film of the year, directed by Ava DuVernay and stars Angelina Ellis-Taylor. Scott, why should we watch this?
I remember this is one of the ones from the early part of the year, because I remember we reviewed it when we were still doing the regular podcast, and it was quite popular, I believe, amongst us back then. And it's one that stuck with me throughout the year when I was making this list. It just stayed around, and it was one that I just felt so emotionally connected to. It was one of those films where it discusses race and, well, caste, actually, to be more specific, looking at history in sort of America, India, and Nazi Germany, and basically looking at that from a journalistic point of view, and how it relates to today, essentially. And there's just so many scenes in there that I was weeping. Like, you guys know me, I like a good cry in a film, and this one had me in buckets. And yeah, I just think it's so powerful. The performances are amazing. There's a scene at a swimming pool that is just unforgettable. Yeah, just loved it so much. So powerful. Not an easy watch. That's something to warn viewers. It is on Amazon Prime for free at the moment. If you do want to see it, you have to go in feeling strong. But it is well worth a watch to anyone. Very educational too.
Good. Yeah, excellent. I've certainly not seen that. And looking at Emma, I don't think you've seen that. Everyone looks like you're the only one. Yep, it's another one for the list for sure. Okay. We are jumping ahead now because we don't have a number 15. We do have two films at number 14. So here's the first of those.
Our little girl's growing up so fast. Ow. Sorry.
It should be nothing but smooth sailing from...
Hello. I'm anxiety. Where can I put my stuff? A new emotion. Oh, I'm sorry. We wanted to make such a good first impression. What do you mean we?
So that is obviously Pixar's Inside Out 2, which has made an awful lot of money this year. This got love to the tune of 25 points from Scott, Andy and Emma. I'm afraid I didn't, because I tend not to rate animated films over the live action ones. Sorry, that's just me. But I mean, it was great. I took the grandkids along to see it. They enjoyed it. Didn't think it was as tight and as good as Inside Out, but that's kind of a masterpiece, so can't really expect that. Any other comments on that one?
Just that the best line is when they're flying over a big gap in their brain and somebody says, "What's that?" That's the sarcasm. I mean, that's the line.
Oh.
I think that's my favourite line in any movie this year.
I identified a lot with that. That explains a lot.
When they're shouting across it and say, "Hey, can you help us?"
Yes.
And they hear, "Hey, can you help us?" or whatever.
Yeah, that's the sarcasm.
Yeah, very good.
Brilliant.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Okay, so that was the first one at number 14, and here's the second one at number 14.
The thing you love most, it terrifies me. I can't imagine if something happens to you.
They're rooting against you, Trudy. They want the water to win.
I came all this way. Might as well see England.
So that is Disney's Young Woman and the Sea. That got 25 votes again from myself and Scott and Andy. I really wasn't expecting much from this one. It was kind of a little film on at the cinema, and both myself and the illustrious Mrs. Movie Man went to see it, and we both absolutely loved it. I thought it was terrific. Bearing in mind what you said, Andy, about Harold and the Purple Crayon, this was a film that you could take the whole family along to see. There was nothing inoffensive about it, and it was really entertaining. The true story of one woman athlete's fight against the patriarchy in 1920s America. That's one of two films about that subject, actually, in our top 20. And you saw Daisy Ridley there. She often hasn't had the best of press as being an actress, but I really thought she was very good in this.
I have to agree with you on that one, Bob. This is probably Daisy Ridley's career best performance. and the cast as a whole was amazing. It's an inspirational sports drama, period piece. You know, I'm a sucker for those. That like, give me a formula that I like, and just keep giving me that. No, but this works so well. Even Graham as well as a surprising comedy performance that people aren't really talking about. It's sort of like a subtle, not so subtle, but yeah, underappreciated, I think, supporting turn of the year. Yes.
It's more subtle than his role in Blitz, that's for sure. Okay, so I like that one. Here's we're going to jump forward. We don't have a number 13. We've got two equal at number 12. This is the first of them.
Every time I survived the war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay? Okay. What kind of American are you? You don't know?
That is Alex Garland's Civil War. That got love from both myself and Andy. We rated that one highly. Story of dystopian America, where there is a rogue president who wants to get a third term in office, and he forces his way into office and then creates a civil war. I mean, it's completely out there type of story. Would never happen in a million years until 4 years' time, and we'll see. So, Kirsten Dunst plays the lead role there. Kaylee Spaney, who's had a very good year and is in one of two films in our top 20. She impresses as the kind of enthusiastic, journalistic protege to Kirsten Dunst. But it's that short cameo there that you saw from Jesse Plemons, Mr. Dunst, as it were, that really sticks in the mind. And even though it's a really short thing of only like 3 or 4 minutes, it wouldn't surprise me if Jesse Plemons got nominated for a Best Supporting Actor Oscar for that one. It really made the film. I thought it was such an impressive little bit of film. Anything to add to that?
No, you said
Andy?
it all, Bob. You said it all. I mean, it's just really stirring. That final shot is just remarkable. Over the end credits, it's just incredible.
Yeah. Here's the second film that we had at number 12 in our list.
My family's been fighting them for centuries.
Your blood comes from dukes and great houses. Here, we're equal. What we do for the benefit of all.
Well, I'd very much like to be equal to you.
Maybe I'll show you the way.
Two guys who've also had a very good year there, Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya. That was June Part 2. And again, this was one which myself and Andy gave points to, and nobody else did. Blockbuster, 190 million, came out early summer, I think, but from memory, Denis Villeneuve was the director. I thought it was really good as a science fiction spectacular. It's one that probably works better on the big screen than it does the small screen. But I thought the rendering of the sandworms was particularly impressive, which means I wouldn't be surprised if that got nominated or even won the Oscar for VFX this year. Although having said that, I did also say in my review for this film that Hans Zimmer would be a shoo-in for the Oscar for score, and the long list for the Oscar soundtracks have come out, and Hans Zimmer is not on the top 20, which feels like a crime to me. But there you go.
Bob. Yeah, I mean, just a spectacular science fiction epic.
Yes, indeed, I agree with you. Okay, on to our number 11. We've only got one at number 11, so that's good. Here it is.
As a child, my world was forever changed. My mother was magnificent.
and he took it all from me.
What do we have here?
She's from a place of abundance. This is our destiny.
My childhood, my mother, I want them back.
So that is at our number 11. This is Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Again, this was one that is a Bob and Andy loving, because we both gave that points and nobody else did.
Must be something to do with the
This is
certain
obviously,
age.
yeah, clearly.
It was in my top 30,
clearly.
I would say that. So it was close.
Okay. Yeah. So this is George Miller, again, in the chair. It's a backstory to the character played by Charlize Theron in Mad Max Fury Road. And you've got Anya Taylor-Joy there playing the younger Furiosa. The actual girl in there, I can't remember her name now. She was also very good as the really, really young Furiosa. And Chris Hemsworth was there playing the baddie called Dementus, just chewing the scenery like nothing else. And there were characters in there like Scrotus and Rectus, and a whirling bommy knockers on the back of the vehicle, which is a phrase that we use all the time in our family, bommy knockers. I don't know where it came from or whatever, but it was just bonkers and really entertaining. So yeah, I really like that one. We're moving on. We don't have a number 10, but we're into the top 10. We've got two films at number 9 in our list. Here's the first one.
Monk, your books are good, but they're not popular. Editors, they want a black book.
They have a black book. I'm black, and it's my book.
You know what I mean.
Look at what they published. Look at what they expect us to write. I just want to rub their noses in it.
It's really difficult to juggle these lists, I find, between films you saw really early in the year and those which you've seen late in the year. But this one, I think, came out in January, and I thought it was terrific. I thought the script by who wrote the script? Cord Jefferson. That's right. He won the Oscar for the adapted screenplay, and I thought it was simply brilliant. And Jeffrey Wright, who's always kind of been a supporting player in an awful lot of films, including Bond. I thought he was terrific. I thought the comedy was spot on. There was some interesting fourth wall breaking in the finale, which I don't think was to everybody's taste, but I thought it worked pretty well. That was given 29 points. Again, it's just two of us, myself and Scott, who rated that one highly. But I think we all enjoyed American Fiction, didn't we?
Yeah, it was great. To be honest with you, I completely forgot about it.
There you go.
Top 20, if I remembered.
Yeah,
it was in my top 30.
Yeah. It's a really lovely film.
It is terrific. Right, here's the one that's joining it at equal number 9. Again, this was only loved by two of us, although I think probably liked by all of us.
Run.
So that is Alien Romulus. Got 29 points. Got given the love by Andy and Emma. I think it's fair to say Alien back on form again as doing what it does best. Lots of creepy stuff happening in a confined space of a spacecraft. I thought Kaylee Spaney made an excellent heroine in that. I think this might have made my top 30, although I've seen about 200 films this year, so there's a lot of jostling for position in the top 50. But I thought it was good. Yeah. Any comments from you guys, Emma?
I really enjoyed. My only quibble with it, I mean, I put it at number 2. I really did love this.
Oh yeah.
But my quibble is that bringing back the old characters fine, but do it in a better way. That was literally my only quibble. I loved the action. I loved the character. of, I'm going to say Andy. It was Andy.
It was Andy. It was, yeah, I can't remember.
Oh yes, yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Her brother, yes.
Yeah.
Her brother, yeah. I just loved and his acting in the way he progressed that character, you know, in the big change. I just thought was really great, and it just felt like one of the original Aliens and not another
Prometheus.
Like,
yeah.
Yes.
What's wrong with Prometheus?
Yeah. Terrible.
See, this is where I'm going to be the outlier on this one. I did a ranking list of Alien films after seeing this, and this was my second lowest. Sorry.
Second lowest.
Yeah,
okay.
I was not a fan of this film. Apart from the scenes that were floating around. That was clever, but...
I mean, admittedly,
nope.
All of the Alien films are pretty good, so there's...
I mean, I even love Alien 3. I love Alien 3. I think Alien 3
3's good.
I could never forgive them for what they did at the beginning of Alien 3.
Well, that was the big problem with it, of course. But,
yeah, right. You've been rooting for one of the characters all through Aliens, and then... Right, no, I didn't think that was very clever, but there you go. Okay, so we have mixed views about Alien Romulus. I certainly liked it. I thought it was a good film. Didn't get any points from me, though. But here we go, up to number 8. We've only got one film at number 8, and that is this one.
The arena turns slaves into gladiators, the gladiators into free men.
You have something in you. I knew it from the start. Did you now? Rage. And rage is your gift.
So this, of course, is Ridley Scott's Gladiator 2. I saw Andy shaking his head there. Andy did not give this any votes, but he got love from all the rest of us. He got, where are we, 32 points for Gladiator 2. Andy, you were not a fan?
I couldn't get past the sharks in the Colosseum and the space monkeys. Now I know it's
bonus
a fantasy.
Points, Andy. Bonus points.
I know. I mean, I was fantasy, but
I was disappointed that the sharks did not have Roman frickin' laser beams on their heads. That's what disappointed me.
I just thought there were 20 better films than this, but I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it. That's what counts.
No, I really enjoyed myself. I actually went to see it at the cinema twice, and given I see so many films, it's unusual for me to go and see a film twice at the cinema, but I really enjoyed it the second time. I'd go and see it a third time, actually. It seems still to be packing out cinemas around the country, so I think it's been doing really good business. For me, I mean, I thought Paul Mescal was fine. I've heard some criticism of him that he wasn't up for the role, but I actually quite liked him. And Pedro Pascal, I think, was really good. But the actor who stood out for me was Denzel Washington. The way that he caressed his robes and so on, and I thought he was absolutely fantastic.
He's clearly having a good time.
And I think he should get nominated for a supporting actor Oscar, and it would not surprise me in the slightest if he won that. I thought he was just fantastic.
It just felt so epic in the way that Ridley Scott does these films, and recently we've seen his output has been very hit or miss, even within the same year. But this one felt back to form for Ridley. Even though it was a bit silly, the CGI monkeys or baboons or whatever they were bad. But take away the sort of anachronistic, is that the word? Anachronistic?
Yes.
And just have fun. It's really fun and funny as well. There's so much comedy that I did not expect to get from this film.
Yes,
especially from the Emperors. That was just hilarious.
I need to go back and see it again. Clearly,
who were real characters in real life. There's a fantastic movie to be made about those real life emperors. Because they were actually murdered. One of them was actually murdered in the arms of his mother at his mother's request. I mean, there's a hell of a film to be told about that one. I like some of the backstory to that film, that Moroccan fort at the beginning that you see in that sea battle was actually built by Ridley Scott at the cost of millions of pounds for his Prince of Persia film back, 25 years ago. and he basically gave it to the Moroccans as a kind of tourist thing. And then he had to rent it back from the Moroccans for £1 million to use it again on this film, which is
worth it.
Is a cracking story. Yeah. Okay, we're up to our number 7 film, and our number 7 film is this one.
If I made you the first woman ever to lead an overseas mission, the whole world would look to you as proof of what woman can or cannot accomplish.
If we are to build an empire of hope, my sisters, it seems we must first conquer New York.
This is a film called Cabrini. Did you see Cabrini, Emma?
Yeah, it just missed the cut on my list,
Yeah.
but I really enjoyed it.
So this got 33 points, one more than Gladiator 2, from myself and Scott and Andy. And as with the young woman and the sea, this is another story about a strong female role model facing up to the patriarchy in the US of the past. This was made by Angel Studios, who were an interesting outfit at the best of times. And I thought the visualization...
I do a lot of work with Angel Studios.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I'm in contact with the production team regularly. Yeah.
Oh, right. I mean, they were really interesting outfit.
Really interesting,
I think as a studio, the way that they crowdfund.
Yeah, the Chosen, the TV
films.
series was crowdfunded. Yeah.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I think they've crowdfunded most films.
Yeah.
Most of their end credits is made up of funders, I find. But the way in which they actually visualise 1889 New York there, I mean, the film I thought just looked spectacular in terms of the production design. The number of extras that they threw in to all of the scenes really gave the scenes a whole lot of life. This kind of came into UK cinemas in March and kind of slipped out again, pretty much unwatched by people, but I thought it was a terrific film. It is available to stream on Apple TV and Amazon Prime for just £1.99 in the UK, which is a bargain. In fact, the illustrious Mrs. Movie Man hasn't seen that yet, so this will be a watch for us in the new year. Terrific. We are now at number 6. So that is The Wild Robot, and once again it's an animation that I didn't give any points to, but this is one that I would probably put in my top 30. So all the love for this one came from Scott, Andy and Emma, unless Memoir of a Snail actually makes it onto the Oscar list for this year. This is one that I could well see winning the animation Oscar. In fact, I think the long list has already come out. I can't remember whether or not Memoir of a Snail is on that list or not. But I thought this was terrific film. You guys clearly loved it. I don't know who gave it the most points. That looks like it was Andy. You put it as your number 3 film by the look of that.
No, I don't think so. Not number 3.
Oh no,
I think I was.
Oh no,
4.
looking at the wrong line. It's Scott.
Scott,
you put it at number 4. So I think you gave that one the most points. Yes, you did. Yeah. So it's mostly Scott and Andy who liked that one. It was a really impressive animation, wasn't it?
It's just so emotionally engaging, so clever. Like, I'm not a parent myself, but I could imagine a parent watching this getting so emotional and so much nostalgia about parenthood, and you could argue about single parenthood as well, adoptive parenthood. I think this came roughly around the same time in cinemas as Sound of Hope as well.
Yes, it is.
The story of Possum, yeah.
Yeah, and it was interesting seeing similar sort of subject matter so close together. And it was just, the animation was beautiful. And it's just one where you sit back and go, that's really clever. But also, even though it's a kids' film, there's a lot of dark dialogue in here as well that for the parents, I was just sitting there laughing at some of these things, being like, this is supposed to be a children's film, but there's a lot of death and quite risky jokes in this film too. So I think the combination of great animation, emotional subject matter, plus the dark comedy is why I had it all so high, because it just hit on so many levels.
Yes, indeed. I heard about the film that basically the robot lands on this nest and kills the mother. You think, oh God, this is an interesting start for a children's film, isn't it? But yeah, no, it was very good. I did appreciate that film as well, but I didn't give it any points, so that's why it's not higher up in the list. It could have really challenged. We're on to the top 5, guys.
Yay.
Number 5.
You don't tell a boy that's been left behind at Christmas that nobody wants him? What's wrong with you?
There's nobody here, okay? You stay out of my way, and I'll stay out of yours.
Let me sleep.
Now, most of the kids dislike you, pretty much hate you. Teachers too. You know that, right?
So that, of course, is a Christmas film. This is definitely a Christmas film. It's called The Holdovers, directed by Alexander Payne. And that one got love from myself, Andy and Emma in particular. 38 points, one more than The Wild Robot. I think it's a very cleverly made film. It's done in a retro 70s style, right down to the retro kind of logos for the companies at the beginning.
And the soundtrack is very Simon and Garfunkel.
Soundtrack's very retro as well. Even the trailer is an old style 70s trailer. And I particularly like the opening. The BBFC dragged out one of their AA certificate logos from the 1970s to put but the whole thing was just great, right down to the copyright in the film was actually 1975 as well. I noted whatever that is, X1, whatever the.
Can I just say it was the first time I saw this year?
1975.
It was the first time I saw this, and it's just stayed with me ever since. I saw it at a press screening, and I just absolutely fell in love.
Yeah, I think I probably saw it mid-January. I mean, it's just a shame it didn't actually come out for Christmas in the week before Christmas. That would have suited it better. But then Die Hard was released in July, so what can you do? What can you do? Paul Giamatti there as the jaded classics teacher, Paul Hunnam, and it won Divine Joy Randolph an Oscar as well for her supporting role there. So very good. Right, here's some interesting scoring on the next film at our number 4 slot.
This your mum and dad?
Yeah. They died just before I was 12. I'm trying to write about them at the moment.
How's it going?
Strangely. Hi.
Hi.
So this film was the film of the year for myself and Emma. We both rated this as our film of the year. It is All of Us Strangers and got 40 points because 20 points from me and 20 points from Emma. And I declared at the time that this was going to go into my greatest of all time list, and so it was inevitable, I think, that this would end up as my number 1. I just think this film is spectacular on an emotional kind of gut-wrenching level. Andrew Scott, who really should be, why hasn't this man got an Oscar yet? I mean, he is absolutely spectacular. And Paul Mescal there without the beefy makeup for Gladiator. 2 lonely men in a gay relationship. The sex is quite strong, I have to say, so it might put some people off watching it with their granny over Christmas. But Claire Foy and Jamie Bell play his deceased parents, and he basically is a sort of time-travel-y, timey-wimey thing. And there is a scene in that film where Claire Foy is decorating a Christmas tree, singing along very pointedly to You Were Always on My Mind, which just absolutely gets me at a fundamentally emotional level every time I watch it, and it's my kind of standout scene for 2024 in there. All of the Strangers available to watch on Disney Plus. Scott and Andy, were you not fans or?
I remember liking it, actually. Claire Foy and Jamie Bell particularly, I remember thinking they were fantastic. I think I might have given it an 8 out of 10, but it's been a while back. Not quite enough for my top 20, but yeah, I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same as Scott. I thought the structure with the timey-wimey stuff was really clever, really enjoyable, and great performances. And as you say, I don't know why Andrew Scott has got an Oscar yet. There were 20 films that I enjoyed more personally than I enjoyed this one.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, we are still on the list here of only 3 of us liking a film. At our number 3 slot, it's this one.
Have you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself? Younger, more beautiful, more perfect.
That, of course, is the substance.
What I will say is, and this is my fault, that I still haven't seen it yet.
Whoa!
And I feel like it would have made the cut.
It definitely would have.
I think that could have been our number 1 film of the year. It got 42 points. It got a 15, a 12, and a 15. So it was well into our kind of top 10s for myself, Scott, and Andy. I mean, it's a really interesting body horror film that shocked audiences and sent some audiences allegedly running from the screen. I thought Demi Moore was brilliant. Wouldn't surprise me if she gets a Best Actress nomination. Margaret Qualley is also very good in it as well. And there's a really creepy turn there from Dennis Quaid. I mean, for me...
That trailer, I just couldn't watch it just because of that.
It would have maybe got higher up my personal list if the ending hadn't been quite so kind of Carrie-esque over the top. It is a memorable ending on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. But it just went a little bit over the top for me at the end there, but still a cracking film. And at our number 2 this year is Nothing. We do not actually have a number 2.
Ooh. Now I'm getting worried now.
We have a joint
I'm getting
number
very
1.
tense now.
Wow.
Here's the first of those.
Although we sisters are supposed to be invisible, God has nevertheless given us eyes and ears.
What did you discuss with the Holy Father in that final meeting?
The arrangements were made in Paris.
I shall pretend this conversation never took place.
But it has taken place. This is a conclave, it's not a war.
It is a war, and you have to commit to a side.
And Lord be praised, this is the only film on all of the films that we voted for that we all gave points to. Looking at the scores, I rated it 19. It was my second film of the year. Scott gave it 2 points, Andy gave it 8 points, and Emma gave it 15 points. This is, of course, Conclave, Edward Berger's follow-up to All Quiet on the Western Front. And, I mean, how he takes a story which basically features the bureaucratic process of electing a pope, sets it in a single location, and makes it a gripping film, Lord only knows. But 4 fantastic acting performances, Ralph Fiennes, Stanley Tucci, John Lithgow and Isabella Rossellini in there. Really strong field in the acting categories at the Oscars, but it wouldn't surprise me if Ralph Fiennes A, gets nominated, and B, wins for that performance. I thought he was just spectacular. No dissenters there. I think, Emma, you were the one who gave it the least vote. No, sorry, Scott. Scott gave it the least votes on there.
I mean, there were so many great films. It was right up there. For me, it probably would have been higher if it wasn't for the ending, which we obviously cannot talk about, but it was an interesting decision. Let's say how they concluded
I
it.
thought the ending was a little weak. It lost points for me, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with the ending.
I quite enjoyed the ending. I thought it was an interesting twist.
The people in my cinema laughed when there was a reveal, and I understood why, because I was a little like, really, that's where you finished this film? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
I agree,
interesting.
Scott.
Yeah, there's two kind of twists in the film, or surprises in the film. There's that one at the end, and then there's an event in the middle, which the bastards went and put in the trailer. I mean, yeah. I mean, that I saw this at the London Film Festival, completely sight unseen, and that moment there was a whoa type of moment, which I really didn't think they should put in the trailer.
Although they never really played out the consequences of that moment enough for me, either.
No, it was a little bit. This is going on, but yeah, indeed. So that is at number one with 44 points, but also getting 44 points is this little film.
Welcome, new students, to Shiz University. Miss Alphabet, you can room with Miss Belinda.
I know about popular.
Oh, I saved you some space, by the way.
Do you really think this is fair?
I do not. I was promised a private suite. But thanks for asking.
This is obviously Wicked, brackets, part one, which got points from everybody apart from me. Sorry, this could have been a runaway leader. I thought it was good, but as Andy says, I think there were 20 films that were better this year. I'm also maybe put off a little bit by the amount of advertising and kind of pressure put onto the brand in order to sell it. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande I thought were fantastic in that. Wouldn't surprise me if one or both of them got Oscar nominations for that. It's very good, and the songs were toe-tapping and so on. I'm not quite sure how part two will go down, because I think, as with most musicals, all the best songs are in the first half.
Having seen, I saw the stage show 2 days before I saw the film, and it was quite interesting watching the film, particularly the second time, putting all the various pieces in place for what's coming. You know, and when you those who've seen the stage show will know. I do not
know. I do not know what happens in the second half, but I understand there are some
interesting
twists.
I mean, I went into this thinking this is going to be baggy, because the stage show's 2 hours 40 minutes. This is 2 hours 40 minutes. And this is only Act One. I think the film's nothing short of miraculous to take the first act of a stage show and extend it by an hour and it not to feel baggy. There wasn't a moment when my eyes were not transfixed to the screen. Oh, I was bored. Yeah.
I did find as well that actually it could work on its own as a film without a second part, which I enjoy. I hate getting to the end of a film and you get that cliffhanger that you don't feel like anything has been resolved, and then it's like, oh, part two coming, you know. But I didn't feel like that in this, which I was really glad of. To be honest.
The only
so there we go. That's.
I was going to say that the only downside for me in this one was actually Jeff Goldblum as the wizard. He was disappointing, just being Jeff Goldblum again. Like in every other film that he's in just now. I think they could have went with someone else for that. But that's my only real main criticism of the film.
He was very much the same character as he was in
Guardians,
the series Chaos, the series on is it Netflix?
Netflix, I think,
pretty much exactly the same. But I mean, and Guardians.
Oh no, sorry, Thor, not Guardians.
No,
he was being Jeff.
Yeah.
He was being Jeff Goldblum, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So those are our joint number one films, Conclave and The Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz, Wicked. both getting 44 points. Let's just have a quick look at our personal top 10s for the year. And this was Scott's. We've seen Origin, Cabrini, Inside Out, Wild Robot. In fact, you've done quite well on the joint top 20 there, Scott. You've got the first 6 and The Substance, 7, 8. You've got 8 films out of our top 20 in there. The only ones missing there were Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot, which I say I haven't seen, and Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, which I also rated. Didn't make my top 20, but a fantastic documentary there about Christopher Reeve. And looking at Andy's, we've got which ones haven't we seen yet in that? Again, in fact, it's only your number 10 film, The Lord of the Rings.
I feel like only 3 of mine are going to been seen in this episode.
You've always had the most diverse views amongst
Can I say
these,
I'm
haven't
quite
you?
proud of that?
Yeah,
A very
you've actually
good
got 9 out of the top 20s in your list, which is pretty good going, Andy. Yeah. Let's look at Emma's list.
Yeah, let's look. Yeah, come on then.
Okay.
I'm so glad you've got Jackpot. I loved that too.
I never saw Jackpot.
Look, genuinely.
In fact, you got 8 in there. You got 8 in there.
I mean, that's not bad, is it?
That's not bad.
I mean, genuinely, Jackpot. Such a bad film, but I laughed. And actually, I'm quite concerned because on Letterboxd, I was looking at my stats for this year, and Awkwafina is like my top watched
oh really
actor, and I don't know how. But genuinely, like, I looked at this and I was like, oh, Awkwafina and John Cena. I was like, that is going to be terrible. But I laughed all the way through
They're
it.
both
I had
so funny.
such fun. Like, genuinely so surprised that there was barely anything I had an issue with it. And I was like, I can't not have it in my list.
It's in my third.
And you've also got the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which is a film I have not heard of.
I really enjoyed that. It's just like good action-y, sort of adventure-y type stuff.
Okay.
Probably, I mean, maybe a little bit generous to be in the top 10, but I did really enjoy it.
Okay, interesting. Right. And finally, here's my list, and I've got one Chuck Chuck Baby and Girls Will Be Girls.
What's that, Bob?
We talked about that. So Girls Will Be Girls is set in an Indian boarding school. It's a sort of coming of age, sexual awakening type film, and really good. It's just started streaming on Amazon Prime. You can rent it on Amazon Prime. Highly recommend it. And that made my top 10 of films. But other than that, I think I've got all but that one in the top 20. So we've actually all done pretty well in terms of our focus in terms of making up the list. There's only a few outliers in that, isn't there? So that's pretty good. It wouldn't be Christmas or New Year unless we went on to talk about our turkeys of the year. So again, you submitted your list for the worst films of the year, and there was only 6 films that got more than 1 vote. So I basically created a top 6 worst films of the year, and these are they. Starting at number 6.
Legend has it that there's this massive treasure hidden in some secret vault. And if you go hunting for it, you'd better take any help you can get. Because it's on the weirdest, most dangerous dumpster fire of a world in the universe. God, I hate this planet.
And it's in the most dumpster film in the
So stupid.
Yeah, I can't even remember what it's called now.
Borderlands.
Borderlands, thank you very much. That trailer looks just so bad, I couldn't even bear to go and watch it.
Rubbish.
At the cinema.
It wasn't that bad, people.
Really
Here we go. Was there a shark in it? Yeah, what?
No, but I mean, Kate Blanchett was in it. I mean, that surely.
What was she doing in
redemption.
it? Yeah. What was she doing in it? Yeah.
Money.
And Jamie Lee Curtis I saw in that as well. I know.
I would have noticed.
There you go.
She was not good in it.
She was
I'll
awful.
give you that.
So that was at number 6. Here's one at number 5 of the worst list.
I will no longer allow any of you to keep me down. I got the sneaking suspicion that we're not giving the people what they want.
It's okay, baby. Let's give the people what they want.
So, this is Joker Folie à Deux, which I think Scott and Emma both hated. I quite enjoyed this film.
So did
I have to say. Yeah.
So
this
boring.
It's a polarized view coming on this one.
Just like nothing. I came out of it and I was like, nothing happened in that film.
No.
That, like,
it didn't move a single thing forward.
It's basically. I was
Well,
like,
it moved a lot forward for the Joker.
It moved a lot of people out.
We set fire to stuff and dance a bit. No.
Killed the American songbook. Like Phoenix and Gaga did the best they could with what they could work with, but I just feel like this is a troll of a film. Like why? Like the first film was really good, polarizing but really good, and then this is just again it's another film that took a bold swing, but it did not.
It took a
pay
bold
off.
swing. I mean, well, I thought it did, but we're clearly going to have to agree to differ on this one. That's the most polarized film, I think.
I mean, all I can say is that, Scott, we made it into this list, so therefore we're right.
Yeah, okay. We don't have a number 4 because we've got 2 films sharing the points at number 3. Here's the first one.
Welcome to the team.
They really love you.
No, it's not the love.
You are a thief, a con man, a professional liar.
Agree to disagree. This is it. I showed them what true artistry looks like.
Go.
No.
If it was in a movie, people would be like, God.
Oh my God.
This was Lift, which I think was a Netflix special. I can't remember who gave this one votes. I certainly did. I think it might have been. Oh, you did as well, Scott. I don't have my scoring for the worst films here, so I can't see who gave it points. I thought this was just dreadful. I thought Kevin Hart was dreadful. I thought the whole film was dreadful from beginning to end. So yeah,
so generic.
It just didn't tick any boxes at all for me.
It wasn't
funny. As a comedy, as an action film, it didn't work. It didn't work at all. Here's the second one at number 3.
I think he can see into the future. He's trying to change what happens. Julia, get down! Why aren't you scared of me? Why do you care for me? Your future was almost so different.
That, of course, is Madam Web, which I think might have even got points from all of us.
I just didn't see it.
For being... Oh, you didn't see it?
I just chose
right.
not to see it.
Scott, you are the wisest man.
You chose wisely. You chose wisely. That one could maybe have got our to the top of the list if Scott had seen it. It was shockingly timey-wimey, spidery stuff.
What I loved was we start in a bit of jungle. 20 years later, we go to the same bit of jungle. And nothing has changed. No weeds have grown, no trees have grown. It's exactly the same as it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, you just wanted one of those gladiator sharks to emerge from the river and just eat her, didn't you? So at least something would have happened in the film. Yeah. So Madam Web got generally panned by all of us who saw it. Here's our number 2 turkey of the year. Viewers, I can only apologise. Now we have lost all credibility from all of our viewers around the world.
That is zone of interest.
That is the zone of interest, which I think it's fair to say Scott and Emma both hated.
Genuinely,
that's in a lot of people's top 10 lists. A lot of people, yeah.
I hadn't seen this, and obviously you guys had reviewed it on the podcast. I was like, right, okay, I'm gonna go and watch it. I came out and I messaged Scott separately from our group chat, and I was like, that was shit. I don't know how I'm gonna say that in.
You just did.
Oh.
Well, you've said it now. I mean, I must admit, I didn't really get on board with the love for the zone of interest. I think
I
I
don't
gave
think you
it
were meant
three-
to love
three
it. I
stars
think
or
you
three
were
and a
meant
half.
to be stunned and shocked and.
But I
moved
wasn't
and-
that either. I
Okay.
wasn't that either.
No.
I mean, I appreciate it. It was clever in terms of what it was trying to do. For whatever reason, the film just didn't connect to me like many Holocaust films have connected to me. I mean, I thought A Real Pain that's coming out in beginning of the year here with Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin, that has a section set in a concentration camp, and I thought that worked better for me in that comedy film than it did in The Zone of Interest. But it just didn't connect for me anyway. So thanks to Scott and Emma. Complaint letters, please email Scott and Emma separately on their respective accounts.
Yes, please go back to the previous podcast to see my full rant.
Not
I remember it well.
Not this podcast, right? But we have one standout winner for our Turkey of the Year film. What haven't we covered yet? Here it is.
Please.
My plan is a city that people can dream about. Megalopolis.
What about those standing in your way? Who like it the way it is?
People don't need dreams. People need help now. Don't let the now destroy the forever.
Don't let the now destroy the forever. Oh, this is Megalopolis, of course. Francis Ford Coppola's film. Did you actually see this, Scott?
No, this is another one I chose to skip.
No, you've not seen it.
Can I just say,
very wise.
I made a note when I came out and I put, there isn't a puppy in the world that could unroll a roll of toilet paper long enough to clear up this mess. I mean, it is just... People were walking out. I desperately wanted to walk out with them. I was on my knees at one point during this praying, and I said, Lord, I will even start forgiving Emma for the film she hasn't seen if you will just let this end. I mean, it was a nightmare.
I thought
the more you say it, the more I don't watch it.
Yeah,
I'm never going to watch
it. Don't watch it.
I thought this was dreadful. There's a point. There's a low point. Unfortunately, it comes very early in the film where Chappie, what's his name, Adam Driver, starts reciting Hamlet extremely badly.
Your teeth are on edge, aren't they? It's just...
Yeah, and that scene in the kind of warehouse, the setup of the kind of
whatever
characters,
who cares?
Is teeth gratingly bad. Yeah. There is some truly horrendous CGI. I've just finished filming or editing. The premiere is tonight for Captain America versus Cyclops 5, which is the series I make with my grandkids using green screens and so on. Special effects in that are better than the scene where they're going up in an elevator outside a building in Megalopolis. It's truly shocking. And Dustin Hoffman's in it. I mean, Dustin Hoffman is actually quite good for the bits he's in, but then his character just seems to get completely forgotten. I mean, and they say, oh, we'd better bring Dustin Hoffman back, and they drop a wall on him.
I really wanted to put this as my fifth worst film of the year, my fourth worst film of the year, my third one. I mean, it was just...
it was dreadful.
Think of the pedigree, the director's pedigree.
Yes! I just don't understand. And he sold a vineyard to fund this, right? I mean, what? It's dreadful. Anyway, here's our personal worst lists, just to see what we voted for. And obviously, there's quite a big range of films here. Scott, The Zone of Interest, In a Violent Nature, Long Legs, Spaceman, which I didn't think was too bad, and Silent Bite, which is not one I've heard of.
Now, Silent Bite, is that a Christmas horror film or a Halloween film?
Christmas.
Is it about vampires? Because Andy will not see it if that's the case.
Yes.
Not one for Andy then. I think it's fair to say that we didn't have very much common in terms of hating of these films. Let's look at Andy's.
Speak for yourself. Me and Scott on the same level.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, Andy and myself are on the same level here with Megalopolis. Borderlands, The Strangers Chapter 1, which I agree was one of the ones I was toying with putting in my my top 10. I saw The TV Glow, which is not a film I've seen, but seems to be very, very polarising. And there's Madam Web at number 5. And Emma's list, Mea Culpa, which is not the Spanish teenage porn film last year. It's the other one.
My review of that on Letterboxd is basically Kelly Rowland and an artist, and I was like, as a lover of arts and craft and things, I found this a horrendous waste of paint. Just genuinely so terrible.
Right.
I do also like though
sorry.
that I was going to say you've only put my top 5 on there, and you would have seen one of the ones that came out in the top 20, obviously in my top 10, in my bottom 10 rather.
Yes, indeed. What was that one?
That was June 2.
Oh, June 2. That's right. You put it in your worst 10 films. Yeah. Joker Folie à Deux. Afraid, which I agree was, again, it was one of my maybes in the list. Would certainly make my worst 20 of the year. And Bob Marley, One Love, which, again, I didn't think was great. I didn't think it was truly terrible. Moving on to my bottom 5. Megalopolis, Lift, Madam Web. Clearly Lift got more votes elsewhere in your 6 to 10 slots. Madam Web, Imaginary. I was kind of tossed up there between Imaginary, Afraid, and Strangers Chapter 1, actually. They all kind of grouped together. And Godzilla X Kong, which I thought was...
That made my top
just
30.
Shocking.
I loved Godzilla
Just
Kong.
a shocking film.
So much fun.
Amazing.
No, it wasn't.
No.
It was silly, but the silliness actually worked in this one.
When he got the new arm. Yeah.
No, sorry.
Just give me
I thought it was
Godzilla
terrible.
-1 and I'm happy.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yeah. So that's our best and the worst of 2024. It's been fun, as always. Fun getting back together again. And look out for our respective top 10s or top 20s. My video is already up on YouTube, on One Man's Movies, the Facebook site, for my 20 to 11 slots. And I'll be putting out my top 10 films on New Year's Day. But all it remains to say is Happy New Year, guys, and we will be getting back together again. We'll be getting the gang back together again when the Oscar nominations come out. Yawn, says Andy. And I think it'd also be fun for us to maybe put together our top 10 list of nominations for next year's Oscars as well, that we did with our forecasting. I will dredge out what we put in our predictions from early last year as to what would make the top 10 Oscar nomination films, and we'll see who wins that. I think Scott won it last year by some margin, in correctly identifying more of them than we did. So there you go. But thanks, guys, and see you again soon.
Bye, guys. Happy New Year.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Happy New Year.